guests tonight are three of my favorite people in the world. Please welcome back to the show or actually, you know what? Maybe no guests tonight. Maybe it's indulgent, you know? Please welcome back to the show for their annual Thanksgiving Day appearance, Hillary, Larry, and Josh Myers, everybody. You guys.
Thank you, thank you.
You're 11, and we've had a very full year this year.
Oh, my gosh.
We have seen each other a lot lately. Most importantly, Pasha, you got married. Congratulations.
I'm married.
You got married, and your wonderful, your bride is here,
My wife is here.
your mother-in-law, there they are. Yeah. Mom and Dad, this is, you got to walk another child down the aisle. Were you nervous when you were walking Josh down the aisle?
A little bit nervous. It was kind of like the moors in Scotland.
Because it was a little bit rainy.
A little rainy.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful
Have you spent a lot of time in the moors in Scotland? I realized I let that go, and I'm like, you've never been. What are you talking about?
No, it was described.
Everybody was saying it that day. They were like, this is like the moors in Scotland.
It was described beautifully in that beautiful book, Wuthering Heights, which I quoted in my reading.
Oh, yeah, you did a reading at the wedding.
Did a reading at the wedding.
But the reason I thought it was like the moors of Scotland was the fact that you had a bagpiper.
We did have a bagpiper.
So, see,
Yeah.
more.
My wife, Mackenzie Rollins, is of Scottish blood.
Yeah.
And it was her idea to get this bagpiper, and Bagpiper New York, or bagpiperny.com, this dude, Richmond Johnson.
Okay.
This guy was incredible. He said,
if you're getting paid, you have to say #ad.
I'm not at all. But he was great, and he called the morning of, and he said, what's the color scheme? What's the vibe? And we told him what it was.
Was he like, please say plaid?
It was Def Plaid. It was Def Plaid, but he was fantastic, and it was Mackenzie's idea, and such a good idea.
Another idea you had, there's Jack McBrayer married you guys. The great Jack McBrayer.
Jack McBrayer also in front of a stained glass window that Mackenzie's father, Scott, had made years ago, and it's been hanging in his window at home.
That's amazing. I thought that was just part of the forest.
No. It's a Scott Rollins original.
Dad, my children were there. And what would you say is your take on children at a wedding usually?
I don't like it.
Yeah. And you feel like you play that close to the vest, or you say it out loud to even strangers?
I say it out loud to all of you. I don't say it out loud to my grandchildren, but I do say it out loud to, and I'm afraid of Seth's wife, so I didn't say it. They were great.
They were great, and here is my wife and my father-in-law. That's Ash, was on the dance floor. Yeah. And Ash was having a grand old time.
He was. And he did that for about 10 minutes, which is like only 2 minutes longer than he should have.
Gotcha.
But the kids were great. They were great. Absolutely.
I like how you just keep making it. I'm more and more sure we're not going to watch this with my family when it airs.
Right.
This is very special. My boys, and that's Mackenzie's nephew.
Yep.
And there they are. They were ring bearers.
Yep.
Now, Axel did not say it like that. Josh, do you remember how he said it?
He said ring barrier.
Yeah.
Which made us all very concerned.
Yeah. Because he's buried stuff before.
Yeah.
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 His glasses, famously.
He famously once buried his glasses at the beach. And then it was a pirate party, so he thought he'd bury the glasses, and then he made an X in the sand, and then a bunch of people walked around, and so he and I were looking for his glasses. We were so panicked, and he looked up at me, and he goes, I wish I had my glasses.
But yeah, we had three little boys, 3 ring bearers, and we wanted them all to have something to carry. We didn't want someone to be left out, so we had 3 ring boxes. And Jack told them all, this is very important, don't open these boxes because we can't lose these rings. But we were worried they were going to shake them, so we had to put something in the 3rd box.
Right.
Which was a pretzel.
Yeah.
And upon opening the box, Jack promptly ate the pretzel, much to the delight of everyone at the wedding.
A mother-son dance, very special.
Yes.
I'll be honest, you and I, and this is very in line. I mailed it in.
Oh, yeah.
We barely rehearsed. But like, we didn't rehearse. We didn't have a dance.
We didn't rehearse.
We had a lovely dance, but
did.
Josh and you, like, actually, Josh came to New Hampshire early. You were up close watching rehearsal, Dad. What was that like? Was that like,
well, you know,
seeing the Beatles' first show?
No, it was right after the wedding. We went to New York to see the MJ, the Broadway show.
Yeah.
There was more work that put into that dance than into the MJ show.
I got you.
They worked hard.
They worked hard.
5 minutes.
But I will say, look at this. You guys did an actual dance.
Yeah.
Did.
And I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. It was,
it was
Wilson
good.
Pickett's Land of 1,000 Dances, so he calls out the dances you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
We cut it at like 1 minute and 10 seconds, which
Yeah.
I think everyone appreciated.
I went online because it was the mashed potato, the pony, and I never did any of these dances.
Right.
So I
You know
said
what's
to-
more shocking to me? That you knew you could go online to find it.
So I say to this one, because of course he fancies himself a
This
dancer.
one, in case you're wondering, will always be my father.
So he says, I can't teach you, you're unteachable. And I thought, well, that's a nice, helpful
Yeah.
thing to say.
Yeah.
So Joshy says, let's just go in the basement and we can do it. And I said, the alligator says you've got to get on the ground. I can't get on the ground.
Well, you can. You
And he
just can't
said,
get
no.
up.
We
Yeah.
just did that
I
kind
said
of.
this will work for the alligator.
So we
Well,
did that.
yeah, that's better. I would say if you got on the ground, I would have been like, I think this evening's taking a turn.
Also, when she was online, I mean, I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm searching for dances. And then I saw, like, recipes for mashed potatoes, some pictures of little horses, and some things from Florida with alligators. I thought, I don't think so.
Yeah, she doesn't. She maybe not the best at Googling. Yeah.
No.
It would have been really funny if during, like, do the mashed potato, Mom's, like, cracking eggs into a bowl. This is a reverse shot of one of the more impressive dance moments of the night. So that, Josh, you seem to be in waiting.
I'm in waiting. It was very much a Dirty Dancing vibe at the hotel.
It was, yeah.
It was in the Catskills in the fall. And
Jerry Orbach was there.
and we played I've Had the Time of My Life before we moved to the after party, which
Right.
was a whole other deal. So this is getting ready to maybe do the lift with Mackenzie. The
And
famous...
look, I think, famously, I don't think Swayze had a bunch of his pals helping out. But you guys,
he didn't.
you played us out. That was... yeah. You were a little hungover. Come clean. You were hungover on your wedding day.
On my wedding day, the night before was a barbecue and a bonfire.
Yep.
And to her credit, at 11 o'clock, Mackenzie said, I might go to bed. And I said, well, this ends at midnight. And she's like, oh, okay. And cut to 2 in the morning, the bonfire's still going. Mackenzie's in her Ivy Park leggings and a sports bra, dancing around a fire, just like a lunatic. And I'm like, now we have to go to bed.
Yeah.
She also failed to tell me that at 8 in the morning, the hair and makeup team would be getting there and came into our bedroom because that's where she was getting ready. And on 6 hours of sleep, I've never felt worse in a morning. And it was my wedding day, but you pull it together because you got to pull it together.
You guys seemed, I'm saying this with all sincerity, you both seemed to be glowing the whole day. Was it a day without stress for you?
Very much so.
Yeah.
This is a day I've been dreaming of since this boy came into the world.
And again, and that's a lot of dreaming because he's very old. So you just
Every morning she'd wake up and say to me, is this the day? Every day.
Yeah.
She was so
But I
disappointed.
always thought that you got married late. You were about 40 when you got married,
I
right?
was, yeah.
And I always thought if you got to be 45, you would never get married. But this one, I always thought he always was more emotional. And I thought,
Yeah, this
he
keep
needed
keep going with this. You have the floor.
So I knew.
The more awkward, the better. He was emotional. Yeah.
Emotional. But anyhow, I knew he would always want. And when I met Mackenzie, I knew that was the girl.
Yeah.
And why she had to wait 10 years is beyond me.
Yeah.
It was worth it. It was a great wedding. It was a great wedding. It was worth it. It wouldn't have been the same.
I even think it was in better wedding than you did because I wasn't hungover.
But you know, I always think about weddings so many times. They're so formulaic. You go to a place, they say this is how we do it and everything else. Josh and Mackenzie planned the whole thing, and my attitude about weddings is the best way to have a good wedding is to plan a great party and then get married while you're at the party. And we started on a Friday afternoon. It ended on a Sunday night, and it was just a great party for 3 days. And they got married in the middle of it. It was exactly the way a wedding ought to be.
In the when we sat down in the reception tent, Mackenzie and I were on our little sweetheart table, and Dad was at a table nearby, and he leaned over. He's like, "This is great. This looks great. Everybody's having so much fun. I don't like anything, and I love this." And it was like, that was where I knew, like, oh, this is a good wedding.
Yeah. It was nice how often Dad was telling people, like, I don't like people. I don't like places.
Kids at weddings.
Speaking of kids at weddings, I will say Addie as well, my daughter Addie her plan was to be a flower girl.
Yeah.
You want to explain what happened there?
She just decided she didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
She bailed, and she went and she got a seat next to these guys.
Yep.
And then after the ceremony, Mackenzie said thank you for, being a flower girl, and because Mackenzie came down last, so she didn't know what had happened and what hadn't happened. Yeah. And Addie, not to take credit for something she didn't do, said, "I didn't do that."
She's a very honest girl. She doesn't want a single lick of credit for something she didn't do.
But a highlight of the wedding for me was that she came over and sat down, and then I was sitting in the front row, and then she came around and sat on my lap.
She sat on your lap, and it was really sweet that we all got to be in that row watching. And I should know that as soon as Mackenzie walked down the aisle, you burst into tears.
Oh, yeah. I burst into tears a lot, though.
Well, you know what? It's almost like what Mom said about you being emotional was true. We'll be right back with our special Thanksgiving episode and these three wonderful people.